everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm here with the last layout I completed at my weekend away. And this was a page kit that I threw together way back in February. And this was my 100 pages to put together as page kits. And then I would have pages ready for the two crops that I went to, plus for Calvin Ball, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I still have maybe 15 pages left out of that 70 pages that I ended up putting totally together. And this is the last page that I completed at my weekend away. And I still had a couple of, probably like 4 hours left to the crop, but I was just done. I was so tired. So I just packed up, and I knew that I had stuff that I had to get done at home, and I was working the next morning. So it was like, you know, the whole weekend, it's sort of like, oh, you got no responsibilities and it's all fun and you're getting, a bunch of stuff done. And then as the weekend comes closer to a close, you're like, oh, back to real life, right? You can feel the responsibilities pulling you in. So once I got that done, I just packed my stuff up, and then I went home and got, laundry and back to real life, so that the next day, because I was going back, for 4 or 5 days in a row. So then I would not be stressed, and I knew that all my stuff would be done. And I had a chance to unpack all my stuff too from the weekend. And so I was still happy with the number of pages that I got done. I got 10 pages done in the whole weekend, and I would have gotten more done if I would have had some of my pictures ready, and if I wouldn't have stopped so much and chatted about other stuff. Because believe me, we chatted about books, and you know what? That was fine. It was a fun weekend. So this is all scraps that are left over, and I can't even remember what pattern, where I got those patterns. I think it was from paper pads that I had pulled out. Some sheets, I had already done a layout with them. So instead of just sitting in my stash and not getting used up, at least I got another layout done with them. I took the base of the layout, or the base of the pattern paper, and it was just under 11 inches. I'd say it's about 11 and a half, 11 and a quarter. And then there was another pattern paper that sort of stripes in yellow and white. And then I mounted the whole thing on some chocolate cardstock from Stampin' Up. I mounted the photo with the chocolate cardstock. I think it's chocolate. It's cardstock from Stampin' Up. And I gutted out the middle of the cardstock, and then you save on some cardstock. And then now that I know how the base of my layout is going to go, I start taking the embellishments and I just start spreading it, amongst the layout, and making it so that I have, to start with, I start with 2 embellishment clusters, and there we go. I say, okay, where can I put the 3rd embellishment cluster? And I'm going to go to the top left of the layout. So it's still, if you make, it kind of makes a really long triangle, but it's still a triangle. And then I like taking those Project Life cards, and if I don't have a lot of stuff to layer the photo, like as far as papers, like instead of layering a bunch of papers in behind my photos, what I'll do is I'll take the photo and then I put a Project Life card next to it, and then that makes it, it does 2 things. It kind of puts focus on that, because it's a big white space, right? And then you can do your journaling. And then, so it still brings the eye to the photo, like you would add a whole bunch of layers in behind the photos. But I found the background big strip was busy enough. I didn't need a lot of layers. Plus, what I had thrown in with this page, there was only 3 pattern papers, and the other pattern paper, it was too distracting to be an efficient layering. So I just decided to dump that. And now I'm just putting some embellishments around the photo to kind of make it focus on the photo. And it always boggles my mind how when I put this page together, this page kit together, I had no idea what pictures I was going to use, but I still managed to find photos that are totally works with the embellishments. Now, you see here, like I have the telephone, which at first I was like, hey, this dessert is enough to call home and talk about it, right? Which I end up not using the telephone, but it would have been fine to leave it there too. But some of the other embellishments that, it says hello sweet, which it's about a dessert, and another little embellishment says, or a word embellishment says woohoo, and then you make me happy, and it just always works out. Now, before I start gluing everything down, I just am taking everything apart and inking the edges, and so that I remember, maybe not exactly, well, if I put my embellishments right back, I kind of remember how I had them laid out, but so I don't forget which pile they belong to, I ink them and put them in the same pile, and then I know which pile that they're going to belong to. And a lot of times, if the pile was at the top of the page, that's where I have all of my embellishments together, and so on and so forth. And then it kind of helps me remember where everything is. Now I'm just taking a distress ink, and I'm just inking all the edges in brown because my background is that nice dark chocolate. Now I'm going to start gluing everything down. This layout took me under an hour. It was super quick, even though I was sitting there chatting up a storm and, having... If you've been to a crop, you know that there's all kinds of distractions. And this is where I realized that I put ATG all the way around, and there's a big hole in my cardstock, so I shouldn't have put ATG around, but ATG comes off pretty quickly. Now, a little story about that dessert. This dessert is enough to feed 3 people, especially after a big meal. This is at the Rainforest Cafe, and this one was at in Ontario, and in Niagara Falls is the one that we went to. And they come and bring it to you, and it's got sparklers coming off of it, and we had, like I said, a huge meal before that. It was so good. And then we shared this dessert, my husband, my son, and I, and there wasn't much left to on the plate when we were done, but oh my goodness, it was so good. It's not a cheap dessert. I think it's like $15 or $16 for the dessert, but it's huge. Like, it's got 3 pieces of cake, and then it's got whipped cream and chocolate drizzle and caramel all over it, and it's so good. And like I said, we didn't waste any of it, but I don't think it's a dessert that one person could eat all of it, unless that's the only thing you went there to eat, and the rest of their food is so good that I wouldn't want that. I want to make sure that I eat the other stuff too. So that's what I want to journal about, is that even though we felt a little full usually when we go to restaurants, it's very, very rare that we get the dessert, because we want to make sure that we eat our food. And then by the time we're done that, it's like, oh, I'm so full, there's no way I can get dessert in. But that was one of the places that we just said, okay, let's make sure that we keep room for dessert. And like I said, we were a little stuffed, but we still made sure that we had dessert. And yes, I'm going to put some foam tape in behind that You Make Me Happy speech bubble. And that foam tape is from 3M, and I get it at Amazon, and it's a huge, huge roll. I think it's like almost $50. But I've had mine now. This is my 2nd roll, and it'll be a year and a half that I'm on this roll. Usually it lasts me 2 full years. So it's not too bad. That means it's about $25 a year for foam tape, but I use it a lot. And before, when I used to buy the small $5 pack, I probably bought like 8 of those or 9 of those a year because they didn't last long. So, you know, which was $45 a year, which is the price of the big ones. So it's totally worth it. So enough about the foam tape, but I find it's totally worth it. Now I've pretty much added all the embellishments in the clusters that I wanted, and they're glued down. Now I'm trying to see if I can make that little piece work here. And those there, I just like to cut the bottom part off and then use it as a flare almost, but I don't end up using it on this layout. Now I am going to use some of the Nouveau crystal drops in the brown. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. And also in the yellow. And I just feel like I haven't chatted in so long. So what I'm going to try to do, I have a few days off. I'm going to try and do a real-time video, and just so that we can kind of catch up, and it'll give me one other video to upload to. And that's pretty much going to complete this layout. And this is all the layouts that I completed at my crop back in May. Now I'm so excited. I just signed up for another crop. It's not for a little while, but I'm sure it's going to get here in no time at all. It's in October, but at least I know there's another crop coming. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. If you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.